Welcome to the Psychodepth. I am Mark Klatt, and here we explore the hidden side of human psychology, attraction, and behavior that most people never talk about. On this channel, you'll learn how to read subtle signals, understand body language, and uncover the real meaning behind everyday interactions. No fake theories, no confusion, just clear, practical insights that help you see people and situations in a deeper way. If you're ready to understand what's really happening beneath words, you're in the right place. Let's get started. She's not saying a word, but her body is revealing everything, and most men completely miss the signs right in front of them. Attraction doesn't always come through words. In fact, some of the strongest signals of interest are completely silent. The problem is, most men are trained to look for direct communication, clear compliments, obvious flirting, or verbal confirmation. But real attraction often works in a much more subtle, psychological way. A woman who feels drawn to someone may not openly express it. Instead, her body begins to communicate what she doesn't say out loud. It can show up in small, almost unnoticeable ways, like the way she positions herself, the direction of her feet, how often she makes eye contact, or even how she reacts when you enter the room. These signals are natural and often unconscious, which is exactly why they're so easy to miss. For example, prolonged eye contact followed by a slight smile isn't random. It can indicate comfort and interest. Playing with her hair, adjusting her posture, or subtly leaning closer during a conversation can signal engagement and attraction. Even mirroring your movements, like picking up a glass when you do, or matching your tone, can be a sign that she's emotionally in sync with you. But here's where most men get it wrong. They either ignore these signals completely or misinterpret them. Some assume there's no interest because nothing is being said directly. Others overthink and miss the natural flow of interaction. The truth is, attraction lives in the in-between, in those quiet, nonverbal moments that reveal genuine feelings. Understanding this isn't about manipulation or trying to decode every move like a game. It's about becoming more aware, more present, and more observant. When you start paying attention to these subtle cues, you begin to see a different layer of communication, one that most people overlook. And once you understand it, your interactions change. You stop second-guessing. You stop chasing obvious validation. Instead, you respond to what's actually happening beneath the surface. Because the signs are there. They've always been there. Most men just never learned how to see them. If you want to understand more hidden psychological signals like this and stop missing what's right in front of you, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. The next video might change the way you see attraction forever. What if the biggest mistake men make is ignoring the silent signals of attraction happening right in front of their eyes? Most men believe attraction is something obvious, clear words, direct flirting, or bold expressions of interest. But in reality, attraction rarely shows up that way. It often exists in silence, in subtle behaviors, in moments that seem small but carry deeper meaning. And the biggest mistake many men make is simply overlooking these signals because they're not loud or direct. Human communication is not just verbal. It's deeply nonverbal. A large part of how people express emotions, interest, and connection happens through body language. When a woman feels attracted, she may not always say it openly. Instead, her body begins to reflect it in natural, unconscious ways. These signals are not forced or planned. They happen automatically,
which makes them more genuine but also harder to notice. For example, eye contact plays a powerful role.
If she holds your gaze a little longer than usual, or looks away and then looks back again, it can indicate curiosity and interest. The way she positions herself also matters. If her body is angled toward you, if she leans in slightly during conversation, or if she closes physical distance, these are often signs of comfort and engagement. Another common signal is mirroring. When someone is attracted, they may subconsciously copy your actions, your tone, your gestures, even your pace of speaking. This creates a sense of connection and alignment. Small actions like fixing her hair, adjusting her clothes, or becoming more aware of her appearance when you're around can also indicate that she cares about how she is perceived by you. But the problem is not that these signals don't exist. The problem is that most men don't recognize them. Some ignore them because they expect something more obvious. Others notice but doubt themselves and assume they're overthinking. This lack of awareness leads to missed opportunities, confusion, and sometimes the false belief that there was never any interest to begin with. Understanding these silent signals isn't about overanalyzing every movement or trying to read minds. It's about becoming more present and observant. When you slow down and pay attention, you begin to notice patterns, consistency in behavior, repeated gestures, and the overall energy someone brings into an interaction. Attraction is often quiet, but it's not invisible. The key is learning to see what's already there instead of waiting for something obvious. When you develop this awareness, your perspective changes. You become more confident, more in tune with social dynamics, and more capable of understanding people beyond just their words. Because sometimes, the biggest signals are the ones that are never spoken. Her body is speaking. The signs are obvious, yet most men still misread or completely ignore them. Attraction is rarely as verbal as people assume. While movies and social media often portray interest as something bold and clearly expressed, real-life attraction tends to be much quieter. It shows up in body language, subtle behaviors, and unconscious actions that reveal how someone truly feels. The irony is, many of these signs are actually quite obvious, yet most men either misread them or overlook them entirely. The human body naturally expresses emotions without needing words. When a woman feels comfortable, interested, or attracted, her body often reflects it in small but meaningful ways. These signals aren't calculated or intentional, they happen automatically. That's what makes them authentic, but also easy to misunderstand if you're not paying attention. For instance, eye contact is one of the clearest indicators. If she looks at you frequently, holds your gaze a bit longer, or looks away and then back again, it often signals interest. Similarly, her physical orientation matters. If her body is consistently turned toward you, even in a group setting, it can indicate that her attention is focused on you. Leaning in slightly during conversation or reducing physical distance are also signs of comfort and engagement. Another important signal is how relaxed or open her body language is. Uncrossed arms, open posture, and natural movements often reflect ease and interest. On the other hand, if she becomes more expressive around you, smiling more, using her hands while talking, or reacting more energetically, it can suggest that your presence is having an effect on her mood. There are also subtler behaviors that many men miss. For example, she might adjust her hair, fix her clothing, or become more aware of her appearance when you're around. These actions can be unconscious attempts to present herself in a more appealing way. Mirroring is another powerful cue. If she starts matching your tone, pace, or gestures, it often means she feels connected and in sync with you. So why do men still get it wrong? One reason is overthinking. Some men second-guess these signals and assume they don't mean anything. Others expect attraction to be obvious and verbal, so they dismiss subtle cues altogether. There's also the risk of misinterpretation, reading too much into a single action instead of noticing consistent patterns over time. The key is balance. Understanding body language isn't about jumping to conclusions or assuming every gesture means attraction. It's about observing patterns, context, and consistency. One signal alone may not mean much, but repeated behaviors often tell a clearer story. When you become more aware of these nonverbal cues, your perspective shifts. You start to notice what others miss.
Conversations feel more natural, interactions become smoother, and you gain a deeper understanding of social dynamics. Because in the end, her body often says what words don't. The signs are there. You just have to learn how to see them. Attraction isn't always spoken. Sometimes it's hidden in body language most men never notice. Attraction is often misunderstood as something that must be expressed through words, compliments, flirting, or direct communication. But in reality, much of human connection happens without kalam. Body language plays a powerful role in revealing emotions that people may not openly express, especially when it comes to attraction. When a woman feels interested, her behavior may subtly change in ways she doesn't even realize. These changes are usually natural and unconscious, which makes them more genuine, but also easy to overlook. Small actions like maintaining eye contact a little longer, smiling more often, or positioning her body toward you can all signal comfort and interest. Even something as simple as leaning in during conversation or finding reasons to stay close can reflect a deeper level of engagement. Another key aspect is energy and presence. If she becomes more attentive, reacts more to what you say, or seems more relaxed and open around you, it can indicate that she feels a connection. Sometimes she might mirror your actions, matching your tone, gestures, or pace, which is a natural way humans build rapport. The reason many men miss these signs is because they expect attraction to be obvious. They look for clear verbal confirmation and ignore the quieter signals happening right in front of them. Others may notice these cues but doubt their meaning, assuming they're overthinking. The truth is, attraction often lives in subtle moments. It's not about one single gesture, but a pattern of behaviors that show consistent interest. When you learn to observe without overanalyzing, you start to understand people on a deeper level. Because sometimes what isn't said speaks the loudest. The signs are there, right in front of you. But if you don't understand them, you'll miss everything. Attraction isn't always loud, direct, or easy to recognize. In many real-life situations, it exists in subtle behaviors, small actions that most people overlook. The truth is, the signs are often right in front of you, but without awareness, they pass unnoticed. Human interaction goes far beyond words. Body language, eye contact, tone, and energy all play a major role in how people express interest. A woman might not openly say she's attracted, but her behavior can reveal it in quiet ways, like consistent eye contact, a natural smile, or choosing to stay close during conversation. Even small things like turning her body toward you, reacting more to what you say, or seeming more engaged in your presence can indicate interest. The problem is, Many men either ignore these signals or misunderstand them. Some expect clear verbal confirmation and miss the subtle cues. Others notice something but dismiss it, thinking it doesn't mean anything. Over time, this leads to missed opportunities and confusion. Understanding these signs isn't about overanalyzing every movement or assuming attraction where it doesn't exist. It's about recognizing patterns and consistency. One small gesture might mean nothing, but repeated behaviors often tell a clearer story. Awareness and observation are key. When you start paying attention, your perspective changes. You become more confident in social situations and better at understanding unspoken communication. You stop relying only on words and begin to see the full picture.
Because in the end, the difference isn't in whether the signs exist. It's in whether you're able to recognize them. If you want to understand these hidden signals on a deeper level and improve your awareness in real interactions, make sure to subscribe and follow for more insights like this. This content is for educational and awareness purposes only. Body language can vary from person to person, and no single sign guarantees attraction. Always respect personal boundaries and focus on clear, mutual communication.